What's up, Liberty fans? This is NYLFTV. I am Kenny Saint-Vil, and I'm here with my guy, Gabe Zoda of SSN Liberty and the Play BK. The New York Liberty fall to the Phoenix Mercury 86-60. The series is tied 1-1. Everybody's favorite words, Game 3. And unfortunately, New York is headed back to Phoenix after this performance tonight. Breanna Stewart did take the floor. She played about 20 minutes. Unfortunately, was a minus 24. She only had 6 points. What did you see out there tonight, Gabe? What did you think of this effort by the Liberty tonight?
Yeah, I mean, the first quarter was pretty good, right? I mean, 25-25 after the first quarter. Game was going back and forth. You're thinking, okay, well, if the Liberty can just notch up a little bit on the defensive end, they're going to win this game because they started off the game pretty hot. Everything looked good. The urgency that you wanted to see was there in this game, and the mentality going into tonight. You know, talking to a couple of players and Sandy Brondello was, we're treating this like a do or die game. We don't want to go back to Phoenix. We don't want to have to play a Game 3 back in Phoenix. And they started off on the right spot. Loved it for the first 10 minutes of the game, but then after that, completely fell apart. The second quarter and on just was not Liberty basketball at all.
It wasn't. In that first quarter, Miles Elrick of the Win Side, he put out an interesting stat. The first quarter, they hit 9 field goals, and they only hit 9 field goals for the rest of the game in those final 3 quarters. So it shows how much of a lid was on the basket for the Liberty tonight. Look, it's a make or miss league. But what do you think they could have changed? And do you think having Stewie out there in the condition that she was in, do you think it helped or hurt the team tonight?
Well, I think the biggest problem with the offense was, we always talked about this 5-out offense, and when it's working great, it looks fantastic, seamless. The problem is with the 5-out offense is exactly what we saw tonight in the second, third, and fourth quarters, was the ball gets stuck on the outside. There's no penetration, and when Stewie isn't at her 100% self, there's no cutting, there's no screen rolls, and that's when this team's at their best, when they aren't just throwing the ball around the arc, but when they're getting inside and getting penetration. They weren't doing that, so it looked really sloppy for a lot of the night. You had a couple times where players would get trapped pretty much on the sideline. They just had to throw the ball up, and it was a turnover from there. So, those are where you see the biggest problems with the 5-out offense. And, credit Phoenix. They did a great job congesting those lanes, not allowing the Liberty to get to those spots. But at the same time, if you're the Liberty, you still have to roll. You still have to cut hard. You still have to try and make the movement to try to get the ball moving, and they didn't do that tonight.
Absolutely. And Breanna Stewart spoke post-game. She said she might feel some soreness in her knee. Obviously waking up tomorrow. Some of the players are staying back until midnight. They'll head out to Phoenix tomorrow to get ready and prepare. One of the key things that I want to speak about is Jonquel Jones. Jonquel Jones had 13 rebounds tonight, another great rebounding game, but only 9 field goal attempts. She had 8 points. She had a great first half, but was quiet for the rest of the way. What are you seeing out there? And we do speak about the 5-out offense. It doesn't help to have JJ out on the top of the key all of the time, and knowing how dominant of a force she is in that paint. Are the Liberty doing themselves a disservice by, just kind of like sticking with that 5-out and not getting into different actions and getting JJ involved, especially in that low block?
Yeah, we saw a lot in Game 1 with Sabrina and Jonquel Jones going a side pick and roll, and they had pretty good success with it. Once again, have to credit Phoenix's defense because they noticed that, okay, Liberty, they're trying to do similar actions, and they did a great job of, once again, getting in the passing lanes, congesting the lane, not allowing the Liberty to get downhill. But on the flip side, once again, you have to still get JJ the ball. You have to still get her in those actions. So whatever it is, ditch a 5-out offense for a couple plays, 3 plays, and just have her sit right there in the paint, just get her the ball, right? Different schemes. And they tried that throughout the night as well, right? So I'm not going to try to say that they didn't try that at all. They tried it throughout the night, but when it becomes obvious, that's when it's so easy to defend. And it felt like the Liberty were trying too hard to get her the ball sometimes when it should be a lot more natural. It should just be part of the offense. And we've seen it throughout the entire season where that can be a problem. We saw it tonight as well. And you have to get JJ the ball, right? I mean, this is a game where, if she gets more touches and converts more touches, then she could have had a game where she had 20 plus tonight and had those great rebounds. In the third quarter, she was going crazy on the boards, right? So, that's the difference between the game that we saw tonight and a dominant JJ performance.
And what are you seeing from the others? Because definitely a different game where you see the only double-digit scorer was Emma Meeseman off the bench with 11 points. Everyone else in single digits. It's weird to even say that out loud. What about the others? Who from the others do we need to step up? Because I always think about our X-Factor, Leonie Phoebus, and she seemed to have a little bit trouble against this Phoenix squad. They're defending her really well. So what do you think? Who steps up in these situations?
I think I like KB a lot. I think she's the one that if it's not Leo, you need KB to really step in and be more of a factor. And where that happens is we saw a couple times tonight where she'll get a ball in a corner and she rips through and drives, right? Use that speed that she has, that first step to get to the rim. That's when she can be super effective, not just as a scorer, but if she pump fakes on the corner, drives in using that first step, and you have Stewie or somebody cutting on the opposite side, the weak side, that's a free dish, that's a free assist as well. And that's where you can see that ball movement that we want to see, that we saw was so lacking tonight. So it's moments like those where you're like, okay, if we just have one more cut here, if we just have one more pass here, it can make the difference between a turnover and a basket.
How worried should Liberty fans be with this being the only game one, round one, this being the only game on this home court, and the possibility of losing in Phoenix and a potential lockout coming? How scared should Liberty fans be?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be a little bit worried, right? You go out today, and it was, as Brianna Stewart said, and it was an embarrassing loss. It's not me saying it, that's what Brianna Stewart said, embarrassing loss. Yeah. And you have to be a little bit worried, because if Stewie isn't 100%, well, she's not going to be, but if she's not like 80%, 75%, I mean, you're not going to get a Liberty squad that is at its full potential. And if they're not at their full potential against a Phoenix team that, one, is healthy and two, is playing do-or-die basketball, then this might be it. And if this is it, a sad way to go out, unfortunately, but you have to stay optimistic. Obviously, the Liberty fans do an amazing job staying with the team, whether they're high or at their lows, right? And this is a way that the Liberty fans can really ride with this team and be like, that's not going to be the end. We're going to prevail and push through, and I think it's possible. They could definitely win. They won game one. You can win game three in Phoenix, but it's just going to take those little things, and it could happen.
It's going to take all the intangibles, and as I was speaking to Stewie and Emma, especially in the closeout games, sometimes it's not always about the X's and O's. It's all about who really wants it more, and we're going to have to see a real valiant effort from the Liberty in order for them to pull this out. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to just take my reporter hat off for a second. I'm going to be 100% real with you. I do not think Brianna Stewart should have been out on the floor tonight. Not saying that it was her fault that the Liberty lost, but I do not believe that, her being out there helped the New York Liberty, especially with the status, knowing the status that she has on her history with injury, and this being left knee. I know it's an MCL sprain, but your 1 to 2 week injury can turn into a 1 year injury if you take the wrong step. And I know she's fully aware of that. Obviously, her body, but I believe that this team has everything it needs with or without Brianna Stewart. Right. Now, with Brianna Stewart, you want Brianna Stewart 100% healthy, but the display that we saw tonight, they really, really attacked Brianna Stewart, especially in that third quarter. We saw Satu. She had a better game this game. There was a little bit of respect in game one after Stewie had that injury, because you notice Phoenix did not attack Stewie at all. They had every opportunity to do that. I don't know what held them back, but they did not go after Stewie. They made it intentional this game to do what they had to do. And we already know Emma Meeseman isn't great defending on the perimeter and pick and rolls, and they're taking advantage of all of that. So, again, my opinion doesn't matter. I'm not a doctor, and I'm obviously not Stewie, but for longevity, for Stewie's health, I would have liked to see Stewie sit this one out, and if needed, for game three, come out. But I probably wouldn't have played her for that because I'm, a long-term person. But at the end of the day, Stewie was out there. She gave it her all. And as Ta said, she's a tough MFer. Like, Stewie's tough. She's cut from a different cloth. So we're praying for the best for her. We're hoping that she has, great recovery. But to see her have 1 day's rest and then head back out to Phoenix, do you think that this kind of just brings more danger in this situation for her, especially like not knowing the status of her name?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could, right? And as you said, one wrong step and, you're gone for a lot longer. I think it's all on that. Game 3 is all going to be on Sandy Brondello to just discern if she can actually go and not just walk, not just run, not just play, a couple minutes, if she can actually go, because she's going to do everything she can to get on that floor in Game 3. And we know that she will be on that floor in Game 3 most likely, right? Because that's just the mentality she has. That's just the fighter in her. But at this point is, okay, once she's on the floor, and I had this worry tonight, and Sandy played her 20 minutes. Okay, it wasn't 40 minutes, but, it was a blowout game as well. So if I'm in a Game 3, if I'm Sandy Brondello, I was like, all right, Stewie, go out there, go play. But if 7 minutes in, you're not cutting it, I'm not playing you the rest of the game, because at that point, as you said, you are hurting the team more than helping, and we can use you better next series when you're more healthy, when we win this game, than right now not being able to do that. Tasha also said that Brianna Stewart is one of the engines on this team. Well, an airplane can run without one of their engines, and that's probably what will have to happen for the New York Liberty to win on Friday.
Absolutely, 100%. No disagreement there with me. Before we go, I do want to talk about Sandy Brondello's rotations. I did see a lot of, discourse on X.
Sure. As there always is.
There will always be discourse. Yeah. But obviously, with the rotations tonight, what did you think about those rotations? And let's speak about Beck Gardner. Beck Gardner did see some minutes tonight, but she hasn't. I came into the playoffs thinking that we would see Beck Gardner inserted right away. Game 1, I thought she'd be part of this rotation, especially with the way she's been closing the series out. What are we seeing from Sandy's rotations? What do you think needs to change, if there's anything that needs to change?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things with the whole rotations, right? I think we could just use the bench more. Like, this team, we always talk the whole season is, this team is super deep. This team is super deep. And when the playoffs, the rotations are going to get tighter, they're going to get smaller, but it doesn't mean you don't play anybody outside of 8 players. This team can go 10 deep, and honestly, sometimes should go 10 deep. There's no reason why Izzy or Nyara should not touch the floor at all. And you can't even give them a couple minutes each, right? They're just not playing anything, and I think that's a big problem. Not just for the health and safety of the starters, but just in terms of keeping players fresh throughout a game, and especially if a game gets close down to the fourth quarter, a couple minutes left. You want your players not to be on minutes 38 and 39. You want your best players to be maybe at minutes 34 and 35. Just those couple minutes makes that much of a difference in these games. And I think that's something that Sandy could do better at, just utilizing the bench just a couple minutes more. And then when you talk about this offense or this defense, when you play the starting lineup, Phoenix has done a really good job of doing the inverted pick and rolls, finding matchups that they really like, whether it's making sure they have Sabrina on, switching on somebody, because the Liberty would love to switch everything. So I think they should play more size in their lineup, which goes with playing more Izzy and more Nyara, because they could help in more of those size lineups. Play one guard. You don't need 2 guards. Not with this team. It's just it didn't work tonight. I don't think it'll work in Game 3 if they try to do the 2-guard lineup. I would love to just Sab and 4 wings, or Tosh and 4 wings, whatever's working at that time. I would much rather see more of that than the 2-guard lineup, just based off what we saw tonight.
Absolutely. Now, worst case scenario, and we're just going to put this question out there. Worst case scenario, if the Liberty are not able to pull this off on Friday, is Coach Sandy Brondello on the hot seat? Do you think?
I don't like she's not getting fired this offseason because you have the 3 trillion built-in excuses of, oh well, the team never reached its full potential, they were injured, and all of that. So I think it's near impossible that she does get fired. If she does, I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
I know everyone on X, and we see it all the time. We fire Sandy after every single loss.
Yeah.
Jonathan Kolb isn't going to do that just because we all think that they should. I think they like Sandy, the players like Sandy, the organization likes Sandy, and they're going to give her that excuse, like, hey, this team never got to see its full potential. And when you give Sandy a healthy team, you see a banner right above us, right? So I think she deserves criticism, and she'll get criticism because we'll criticize her as we should. But I don't think she gets fired.
Same here. Definitely. Just wanted to put that question out there because, of course, you obviously see the discourse. But Sandy Brondello's a phenomenal coach. She has been in this league for a really long time.
Right.
Knows the ins and outs, and she's been in this position before, being at a 5th seed and winning it all. Obviously, much different from that Phoenix Mercury team, but however, the similarities and the injuries, but also having some key stars. You might not have a DT, but you got a Sabrina Ionescu, you got a John Paul Jones, you have half of a Brianna Stewart, you have Emma Meeseman. So I think they will get it together. I don't believe she's on the hot seat at all, so I 100% agree with you on that. And just to close this out, the New York Liberty will play the Phoenix Mercury in Phoenix on Friday at 9 p.m., I believe, is the time. And again, this is Game 7. Game 3, but Game 7. It is the closeout game of Round 1. And we will see you guys. Hopefully, we will see you at Barclays next week. But if we don't, we'll have to start talking about lockout stuff. You already know it is NYLFTV. I'm your guy, Kenny Saint-Vil, and this is my guy, Gabe Zoda.